The Spencer was the world's first military metallic cartridge repeating rifle, and over 200,000 examples were manufactured in the United States between 1860 and 1869. When first personally tested by Abraham Lincoln, the president found that the lack of familiarity with the novel firearm created a problem. The Spencer rifle's magazine tube was wound so tight in place that I could not get it out. That was just the beginning. A second Spencer rifle had a functioning magazine tube, but when the lever was worked to chamber a cartridge, 2 rounds jumped forward, jamming the gun so thoroughly that it took 15 minutes to disassemble and clear it. After the Spencer was reassembled, Lincoln was able to fire a number of shots, but the president was concerned that the 2 rifles, already inspected and accepted by the Navy, had not functioned properly. Lincoln apparently had a more successful Spencer shooting session with his secretary, John Hay, the following day. Hay was impressed with the Spencer, recalling that it was a wonderful gun, loading with absolutely contemptible simplicity and ease with 7 balls and firing the whole readily and deliberately in less than half a minute. At the time, the War Department already had contracted for and received 7,500 Spencer rifles and had just signed a contract for a much larger number of Spencer cavalry carbines. The .50 caliber Spencer went on to develop an enviable reputation on the frontier. This in spite of the fact that even when it was first introduced, the round was underpowered for the wide-open West. Spencers were the standard-issue weapon of mounted troops for a decade after 1865. With few exceptions. Unlike the Henry, Winchester, lever action, the Spencer was specifically intended for military service. Yet there were some widespread prejudices against Spencers that made their appearance on the infantry line an all too rare occasion. The inescapable fact is that they didn't shoot quite as fast as a Henry or Winchester. The problem, was mostly caused by the fact that the hammer must be cocked between shots. The Henry, like the Winchester, was cocked automatically when the lever was operated. The Henry, however, was not actually designed as a military weapon. The Army purchased some due to the emergency of the war. A total of only 13,000 Henrys were manufactured before production ceased in 1866. The real problem with lever actions was that military purchases were limited by the fact that the Henry rifle cost 4 times that of a Springfield rifle musket, and the .44 rimfire round was actually more suited for pistols than a full-power rifle cartridge then thought needed in infantry combat. Henrys loaded their tubular magazines from the muzzle end, Spencers from the butt, but the Winchesters, improved Henrys, loaded through a gate on the side of the receiver, then considered a vast improvement. In many loading gate models, the tube magazine could be topped off with little trouble during a lull in the action. A helpful trick was to hold a couple of spare rounds between the knuckles of the offhand. Then, when the magazine emptied and only 1 or 2 targets were left, each gun could be single-loaded at the action, the Spencer very quickly. Once the shooting was over, Spencers were probably the easiest Civil War-era weapons to clean and repair. The U.S. Army Ordnance Department